What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy. I am joined, as always, with Abraham. And we want to make sure everyone out there is recording the amazing race. It started up today immediately after Survivor 46. And I think we have the perfect guest for that to celebrate the premiere of the amazing race and to be here to recap Survivor 46. We are joined by Alex. Alex, was I saying your name right on the live stream today? Did I say it right
you were.
last night?
Yeah. Alex Manard.
Manard, yeah. Well, see, usually I'm like, I see Manard spelled like the M-E-R-N-A. So I was like, is it the same? Is it just a different way to spell it? So I was so worried I was saying it wrong.
No, I'm good. I get a lot of Manard. That's what I get all the time. Manard. Like, that's not it.
Phonetically.
My last name is like Ziegelman, so it's spelled Z-I-E. And I went through every single year of school, and they still didn't get it right when I walked across the stage of graduation. So I definitely understand your pain. How are we doing tonight, Alex?
Oh, we're doing good, man. We're doing good.
Are you recording Amazing Race? Are you checking it out after
I got it on in the background.
You got. Hey, look. Hey, Alex. Is it as much?
Every now and then I'm like, what's going on?
Is it as much fun as it looks like on TV?
It is. So the Amazing Race is, the challenges are fun. They're frustrating because you want to be the first one to complete them. You want to be the first one out, but it's no joke. They literally give you a clue, stick you in the middle of a country, and say good luck. So
there's no hand holding.
There's nothing, man. It's pretty
wild. Not only were you on the Amazing Race, you were also on Naked and Afraid as well. And before we actually get into covering the episode and all of that stuff, we had a question. Our own colleague, Ollie, asked, would you rather go back out on Naked and Afraid or try your hand at Survivor?
Oh, Survivor, 100%.
Oh,
man. I've done Naked and Afraid twice. I've been 35 days. I've survived naked. Like, I want to do the 40-day. They asked me to do a 60-day. It's all fun and games, but man, I want to win Survivor so bad.
Hey, go back to
Survivor. We have to get you out there. That would be amazing. I think Abraham's the guy. I think he wants to go do Naked and Afraid.
No.
Abraham have talked
that
about
conversation.
That.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Amazing Race. Yes.
Abraham wants to go, but he wants me to be his partner, and that was weird. I was like, whoa.
He's like, I'm not.
We picked a crew already, and Alex could be on the crew. He just can't be the only person on the crew.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Maybe I should put myself in the middle of you two for this episode. Maybe I'll just be here and split you up the entire time.
We cannot be on Naked and Afraid together, so we ain't
gonna. Oh my gosh! Well, stay tuned for when Alex gets Abraham on to Naked and Afraid, and it's gonna happen. I'm gonna petition for this, but we are here to recap episode 3 of Survivor 46, and we've got a lot to talk about. Before we get into all that, a few housekeeping things to get out of the way. If you are watching, make sure to join our live chat. We like to call it our Ancient Voices. We already had Kenzie in. She's been joining us every Wednesday. Poor Randon, join in the chat. Let us know what you thought about this episode as we discuss it. And we are 10, count them, 10 subscribers away from 1,000. So we are right there. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the chaoticness of us breaking down this episode. But gentlemen, let's get right into it. First off, before we get to the talking points, I got to ask our guest first. Alex, what have you thought about this season so far? And then what did you think about this episode watching it live?
I think there's a lot more paranoia this season than there has been in recent seasons. And it's getting on my nerves. Like, just play the freaking game. Like, stop freaking out so much. Just play the game. Go with your alliance. Find an advantage and just play the game. Stop freaking out what everybody else is thinking.
My brother literally messaged me during the episode, and he's like, man, it's like everybody has an issue. And I said, yep, this is the new era of the game. It's like, it's not hardcore like it used to be.
No.
Here's Survivor in a nutshell. Every group makes it different. Every 18 castaways makes it a whole different other show. You can never count on it to be the same every season. But that level of paranoia, stop looking at it for that intenseness to say that that's how the game goes. Because I'm like, we didn't do any of that kind of stuff. We were never that paranoid. We was like, okay, let's play. They like, oh, man. And this is probably the season they had the most tears. I'm going to go ahead and say right here.
I mean, they're all coming from one person.
three episodes in. They got the
we're gonna talk about that one person throughout. In fact, that's our first talking point today. Let's talk Banu and Yanu. I mean, they're coming back from tribal council, and obviously we get the normal of, oh man, that was really stressful. Banu is heartbroken that his name was written down by Jess. And this is where I wanted to ask our guest Alex here about this. We see them, they're sleeping. This tribe has nothing. It literally, Kinsey says, I think out of all the new era tribes, we might be one of the ones that are down the baddest right now. And they're really struggling. They don't have their flint. They're sleeping under a cave. Alex, smart move, sleeping underneath the cave. I mean, I felt like someone who's been out and surviving.
So to get the rain off you, yes, but caves are really cold without fire. So like being near rocks and everything, especially when it's been raining, and sleeping dead on the ground like that actually makes you colder because the ground will soak the heat out of your body. So you need to be above. That's why everybody's on these bamboo platforms.
Yeah, lifting yourself
staying
up.
off the ground. Well, hopefully that's why. Probably to get away from the bugs, but
first of all, it's more bugs by the rocks than it is on the ocean. I wouldn't sleep either way, but the rocks, the way those rocks are set, there's spiders and stuff over there, and it's just like it looks so uncomfortable. It's just hard, and you really don't want to sleep there. At least the beach, the sand gives you a little more comfort, but the agent's so ugly.
And my thing that irritates me the most, being on Naked and Afraid twice, building shelters and like having to actually survive in the Amazon rainforest for one. If your shelter is leaking, fix it. Fix it. You don't just pack up and move.
They're like, we out of here. We going to these rocks. Forget about them little palm frond trees, which is plentiful on the island. You could have just made the little palm frond thing and you look, you got plenty of time. If you ain't doing that, you can weave them together. You can go ahead and stop it from leaking. You ain't got to get a tarp. Stop playing. So,
well, that was my thing. They don't have a shelter or anything. I mean, I know they haven't had their machete. They haven't won anything, but you can't do anything. Like you can't grab some sticks or at least put them in the ground and figure something out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. You don't need a machete to make a shelter.
No, you don't need it. You don't need that. Well, that and like it. I don't know if y'all saw this, and I don't know if they're doing it or not already on Survivor, but it looked like all the bamboo was already pre-cut. Did you see that?
Only because you said
they're helping them out a little bit.
Let me tell you. So I mean, we get there and we got to build a shelter. We got a machete. We got to build a shelter, but we're walking down the path and there's bamboo already on the ground. I was like, man, this is crazy.
Okay.
Two problems. Here's the two problems. One, it was fossilized. So basically it was bamboo left from the last time they did Survivor out there. And the second was, it's a difficult thing to cut. So Boach tells me, he was like, hey man, Abraham, bamboo is not from Fiji. And for whatever reason, that's the only reason I started looking around and realizing, wait a minute, there's no green bamboo here anywhere. So literally,
that's interesting.
You just could go pick it up. Now it's heavy, it's long, it's awkward, and it's dry. That was a backdrop to ours. If we had like the green ones, would have been better. But it's there on the ground. Just gotta pick it up.
I mean, they're giving them just a little push, and we have Kins in the comments. No shelter, no food, no fire. I'm surprised they aren't dead. Those poor things. And then Jay thinks there's got to be a tribe swap coming this season.
You don't need all that stuff. Eventually you do, but you're fine for a couple days.
Alex is over here like, why aren't they just naked out there? That's what I don't.
Oh my God. The fire challenges every year. I just like, oh my God. It's so rough for me to watch those.
We got that Flint, man. We know. Look, at home we can strike Flint, make fires. So just because on Naked and Afraid, y'all got to make fire for real. You know, Survivor just got to do it.
Oh no! So they gave me a magnesium block to use on Naked and in the Amazon. They gave me a magnesium block. So because think about trying to start a fire in the rainforest. Nothing is dry. You can't find coconuts. Everything is mud. So they gave us a little tool to help us out build a fire. And it still took us, I think, like 5 days to actually get a flame going.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Yanu needs that big time. And we're going to talk more about Banu throughout the episode here. But we can we kind of check in with the other tribes and what happened. Because we got, at the beginning of this episode, we kind of touched base with all three tribes. And, by the way, I do have to throw it out. The phrase mermaid dragon is something I'm going to start saying. When Banu, said, Kinsey, everyone's looking at me as the biggest threat, but everyone needs to be looking at Kinsey because she's like this mermaid dragon. And I officially, that's going to be my next tattoo, it's going to be a mermaid dragon. I guess that's
he went all in on that whole definition, man. He's the most descriptive guy ever because he was like, you turn around, she's a dragon. I was like, is he just getting this ready? I mean, is the camera crew just edging him on with this one?
Very animated. He's fun to watch, that's for sure, but he cries a lot.
He's supplying them with their entire water supply over there at Yanu right now. And like I said, we've got so much to talk about Banu. Let's go to the Siga camp. They were idol hunting, and I predicted before the episode, I had a feeling, I wore my green buff. I said this on the Instagram live earlier, because I had a feeling we were going to see who finds the Beware advantage at Siga. And I had a feeling it was going to be Charlie. And Charlie was this close to finding it, but it ends up being Jim who finds it, only to go back in the middle of the night, dig it up, find the box. And this is the biggest question I have. We already talked about how Survivor maybe helps them out with the bamboo. How is she reading that little scroll in the pitch black of night? Because she pulls I don't know how dark it is. Maybe you guys can help me out. You have the moonlight, but she pulls out the scroll and then immediately reads it. And I was just super confused. I'm like, did she read it in a confessional and then go back out and say? I was so confused at this. How can she read it?
So here's the backdrop of Survivor. Here's where we all have to know. If they don't film it, it never happened. So remember that.
That's every reality TV show.
If they don't film it, never happened. So when she got up to make her move, there's a camera right there. So there's a camera on you 24/7. Then there's individual cameras. So when she made a move, the camera people have to go with her. So that's the light that you're seeing because they still have to travel through the woods and not fall or get injured as well. We was kind of dirty because sometimes we just went places they couldn't go, but they're not trying to get injured as well. So when she went to go actually dig it up, they were filming her. So she had the light. Now, is it scary dark out there? Yes. Is it, if you look at those snakes and spiders and stuff they keep showing there that I've never seen in Fiji, they're out there waiting on you. So she took a chance. Good move, good television. She dug it up, but the light she got was from the camera crew. Now, is that an advantage? Not really.
I was going to say that kind of tells me like everyone does have to be asleep because I feel like if I woke up, I'd be like, what's that light doing on over there?
No, okay, look at it like this right here. You're missing out. So people get them go to the bathroom all the time.
Yeah.
You don't really worry about where they're going or how long they're gone. You're so uncomfortable because it's dark, it's hot. All you're doing is sitting there like, man, I don't know where they went. I'm trying to get me a nap in because it's going to be daylight in 8 hours and I ain't slept but one. So it's a great time to get up. And you had my man over there snoring. So he was asleep.
Tim was for sure snoring. He was out. Alex, how big of a find is this for Jim? And we can look at the Siga tribe. I mean, we've seen this girls alliance kind of forming. We've seen Charlie in the middle. They talked about Charlie's Angels. And then you have Tim and Ben who are kind of in this like male alliance thing. Does this really turn the tides at Siga? Or is it just like, well, they're never going to lose a challenge, so she's never going to get her hands on that anyways?
I think it's too early to tell if it's going to do anything. However, the thing that I like the most that she's done is she hasn't told a soul yet.
Yes.
She immediately stuck that in her pants, waited for everybody to be asleep, and then went and did it. Like, that to me is like, all right, you can go far, you can keep a secret. Like, now going forward, if she's gonna be like, oh my God, I finally got it, and like tells everybody, then I'm gonna retract my statement there.
Alex, what'd you say doing that podcast? You was wrong.
No, I mean, Abraham, Alex brings up a great point here. This is something that's driven you nuts over these seasons, is how people always share their information. They immediately go and tell Alex, you're having a big reaction to this.
You can't do that. Like, not even your closest alliance. It's a backstabbing game. You don't tell a soul unless somebody's like starting to throw your name out there, and then you start threatening to use it, or you just use it and make the vote go your way.
Abraham, anything to add on? Looks like he might be frozen. We've been having a few connection issues with Abraham. We'll see if he pops back. But yeah.
It's because, look. Is it me?
We hear you, but you just... No, we hear you. You've just been freezing a couple times. Yeah, you're back. Abraham,
I was like, that Alex is disappearing. Randy is gone.
No, it's been, I have Alex big time. Yeah. But Abraham, add on to the point of people.
Chris. I always blame it on somebody else's internet.
Yeah, I think it's yours. Yeah, you keep dropping in and out. So you know what? It's been a big issue. If we have Abraham, I'll try to get this question across. Abraham, this is something we've seen. A lot of people have been sharing their information. And like Alex says, this is huge. The fact that she kept it to herself, immediately put it in her pants and said, I'm not telling anyone this. She didn't even tell anyone, hey, help me get to the tree at night. So this could be an advantage that Jim could use if she even gets it. Because like I said, and we'll get to the immunity challenge, when are they going to lose an immunity challenge?
I mean, when we get to this immunity challenge, but here's the thing. It's 26 days. All the players get to see what's happening on Survivor now, because there are enough episodes out where you can go back and see it. You only have 26 days. Stop talking. Just say, hey, look, I'm gonna figure this out. When you have to tell somebody, then you tell somebody. But don't be like, hey, come on in, help me find it. So you got two tribes that multiple people know. You got one tribe where she said, look, I'm gonna go back and find it. Now, if they ever lose and she's on the chopping block, she has an ace in the hole. Now you can blindside somebody. You can gang up on somebody. You can vote somebody else out. They're looking at voting you out. Look how much power you got in the game that's only 26 days. We in day 7. They haven't lost a challenge yet. They're pretty competitive. So it looks like it may go a little longer, but you might need to throw a challenge somewhere down the line. Or when you come back together, because they didn't say how it works if they come once they merge. Is it the same thing once they merge? Because, I mean, it's so much things you can do with that besides tell the next person. So we're going to see how she plays it. We'll see if she's there to play Survivor or try to see how far she can get in the game with it. She might be our winner pick. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I hope she keeps it quiet. I really do. I'm sick and tired of people being like, I got an idol. Like, no, just stop and use it to your advantage.
I was about to say, it's almost like when they created immunity idols, it's almost like that's how they were meant to be played, is to find it and actually use it rather than running around and being like, here, hey, everybody, I got an idol. Look what I found. And so hopefully she can keep it quiet. I know someone posted on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. They said these two are queens for not telling anyone about their idols. And it had a picture of Jim and it had a picture of Carolyn. And I believe those are the only two so far that really have not said. Yeah, I think those are the only two who haven't said anything. And then meanwhile, at the Naming Beach, we have Venus versus Hunter. And let me just say, I've been excited to talk about Venus because I think Venus is becoming one of my favorites. I don't know what it is. She almost gives me a classic Survivor feel. Wow, we have two Venus haters over here.
We're not a Venus hater, but I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how she made it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how she got up there.
Yeah, okay. She's not on top of my list at all.
Okay, well, I got to hear this before we talk about Hunter and his Amazon bed that he ordered into the island, because that thing looks like it was incredibly built. But we have to talk about, like, Venus to me, when you said, what's a classic Survivor feel? And I was talking about this earlier at dinner. I said, I feel like, a lot of people want villains and then they don't want villains, because we had some villains like last week, and everyone was like, oh, everyone's being mean. This episode wasn't great because everyone's super mean. But like Venus, in a way, she doesn't feel like a super fan, and the fact that she's just out there, she's happy, she's cool just to play Survivor. It almost feels like if she gets voted out, yeah, she would be pissed. Like, how many times have we seen people voted out and they're like, hey guys, thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. Have fun, guys, especially in the new era. I don't see us getting that with Venus. And I just heard the facial expressions that she has. I know early on week 1, I got a lot of shit for this. I called her Parvati. And I said, I could see the Parvati like connections. I could see it. And everyone agreed with Abraham. But then Tegwith, our analyst Tegwith for Survivor Social, tweeted out, everyone is saying she's giving Parvati energy, but I actually believe she's giving Courtney energy from Survivor China. And I could almost see that in a way. So I'll go to Abraham first on this, and then I want to hear why Alex is also a Venus hater. But Abraham, what are we thinking about Venus?
I didn't say hater. She's just not on top of my list.
Look, I mean, that's a little aggressive. But here's the thing about it is her playing style is basically in her tribe. Right now she has no strategy. And her own tribe they show a bunch of non-verbals like they don't get along. Like, because you spend 24 hours with each other. So there are a lot of stuff the camera never picks up. But they did pick up when that idol got moved over to somebody else's hand. They did get picked up the second time when Soda took that idol and was going to give it to somebody else. So there's some other things going on. I think that she was going good. She aligned it with someone that said, hey, I have a immunity idol, and I want to work with you.
Beware advantage. She had the beware advantage. Basically,
so
the idol, yeah.
I think that was her way to try to, if they lost, that she had an opportunity to try to do something. But I think when it comes down to it, if they lose a challenge, she's gone. There's nothing she can do about it. There's nobody on that tribe that she can convince.
Not now
that they're playing together. So I don't see where. And if you play in the game, and we see the outtakes and stuff, you would be convincing somebody to be on your side. So Hunter, why would you target the guy that's making chairs? He just trying to be comfortable. I'll let him give a shout out the window because he was in there making chairs on Survivor, and guess what he did?
Went on to win. Well, Hunter's my winner pick, so I like that comparison there.
And you're not going to take away comfort for Venus. You're going to keep Hunter because, one, tell me in the last 4 seasons how somebody's seen somebody catch a fish. He's the only person I've seen catch a fish.
Here we go. So, Abraham's back to catching fish.
He caught a fish with the fishing gear. They're not starving over there, so Hunter's not going anywhere.
We got a few comments before we get Alex's take on Venus. I stand Venus, so watch what you say, Alex. I'm just saying right now. Yes. And then Jay says, I predict Venus will find the re-hidden Nami idol that Randon left the game with. If they decide to re-hide the beware advantage, it will be interesting to see if they do re-hide that. Because I think Randon took the box and hid it somewhere else. Or maybe he reburied it in the same spot. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Alex, so I put words in your mouth. Apologies. You didn't say you hate Venus. Don't put that out there on the internet. He does not hate her, but she's not at the top of the list. How do you see Venus's game so far? Because this is someone we've been talking about it for weeks. She's really struggling to find her footing. It's almost like that kid in school who has absolutely no friends. And I mean, we're going to get to what happened a little bit later, but her closest ally, the one person who was willing to work with her, just left the game. So what are we thinking about Venus in this spot?
She hasn't tried even like talking game with anybody. And if she has, it's been within a group. Like she's not singled anybody out. Randon went and found her and started talking to her. Like she's not doing anything other than sitting there saying that nobody's talking to me. You have to go out and make relationships. So I don't think she's doing that.
Honestly, that's an incredible take if you look at it, because you got a point. She says how her and Soda, like nobody's talking to her, but is she making the effort to go out and actually talk to people? And I also found it interesting, the fact that, Abraham, you brought it up, she wanted to target Hunter. That was really interesting to me, because I feel like out of everyone at the cam, obviously I'm not there. I don't know what's happening when they were playing this season, but out of everyone there, I feel like Hunter might be a person who would talk to her. I'm shocked that her target wasn't more Tevin, who we've been seeing her say for weeks that Tevin wants nothing to do with her. And it's very apparent that it's almost like we've been seeing it on Survivor Australia. And I don't want to spoil anything for that season. But on that season, there's been a lot of, let's not take out the person running the game. Let's take out their right-hand person and make them weaker. So that's why it's kind of interesting to see it here. She says that Tevin and Hunter are running the game, but we heard her in previous weeks say Tevin is the big dog in charge. Why not go after Tevin? Why do you have to go after Hunter?
Look, when it was said Tevin and Kevin are running and they're running the game, he looked at her like, explain that to me, because I'm not getting that. Because Hunter to me is playing an excellent game, because we know that he wants to be a doctor. Now he's a I think a high school teacher. He's playing the game that you should. Sit back. There is no threats. You're not losing any challenges. Make a bed. Communicate. So when it comes time to voting out, guess who you're going to vote out? You're not going to vote out the person that's creating the bed. You're not going to vote out the person that's catching fish. You're going to vote out the person that's annoying you first. And you're going to be like, you know what? They're a threat. If we do a merge, because they're going to throw that out there, she's going to jump to the other side. And then there's going to be a vote for the other side. So we're going to get her out. But right now, they down a person. So that next challenge is going to be a little dicey. I don't think the other tribe is coming back. I think they're about to get another vote out here. They got to stay on execution on this one. But the next vote is coming. So I think Venus is just struggling right now, and the only thing that's going to make her game better is a swap, either a tribe swap or she makes the merge right now. But she'll be the first on my chopping block.
I mean,
for that tribe.
Yeah, I think she's definitely on the bottom, especially that, like I said, the one person, and we'll talk about him later, the one person who was willing to work with her has just left the game. So like, where does that leave her in getting in with this tribe? It doesn't seem like anywhere, because it seems like the other four and Soda, Liz, Hunter, and Tevin are pretty tight. And then she's the easy first boot there. Alex, I did have to bring up, I already said I wanted to talk about this bed that Hunter made, because everyone says he's the Survivor MacGyver. How nice would it have been to have that bed out in the Amazon when you were surviving out there?
I slept on logs. So I had to make a raft out there. So I actually had, me and my partner took like 3 days cutting trees down and breaking these logs up. And we ended up making our own kind of bed with these giant balsa logs that I ended up using for my raft on the last day. So that bed, to me, he was still laying on the ground. He didn't make it completely right.
It was crazy.
He sat in it and he went right to the ground. I was like, So he didn't make it quite right for me, but I give him the props for it.
So if you're giving him a grade, like a teacher grade, what would you? Is solid B? Because everyone else was impressed.
I'd give him an A for effort on that one.
Okay,
it wasn't bad. He
functionality.
He weaved in and out with the cordage and like cut the bamboo slots to go right into each other. Like I was impressed. I love that kind of stuff. That is bushcraft, and that's what I excel in. I loved every second of it, but he still is sitting on the ground.
Yeah, so, hey, look, y'all need to go out there and look at Alex's YouTube, Naked and Afraid. I went out there and looked at it on YouTube. So give yourself a props on now. Didn't your partner quit?
No, she got medevaced.
Oh, she got medevaced?
Yeah, so on the show. Yeah, okay. So I have to think about what I'm about to say here. I still got
you put him in a tough spot. Alex, we can talk after if you want to.
Yeah,
we can talk after.
I should have caught you at the pool.
No. So on the show, she got medevaced for what they thought was a UTI.
Oh, okay. It happens.
Hey,
so that's why she got medevaced. So she got medevaced on day 15. I ended up doing a week by myself.
Amazing race premiered tonight. And we had a medevac. So this is literally the perfect episode to have Alex on. It was
and we had bushcraft. We had an attempt at a bed.
This is perfect. Well, we have to wait. Abraham, what do you have there?
You gotta get this if you're going to Survivor. They ain't gonna let you bring it on the island, but look, it's a pair of pliers, it's a knife, it's everything right here. You can build a whole hut with just this one device.
I'd never like to see how long that takes you.
Hey, we'll do a live stream sometime, Alex. No, I will get a live stream. Let's go ahead and talk about this immunity challenge. And do I have to say more? Nami 3-0, Siga 3-0, Yanu, who was in the lead at one point, or I think they were battling for the lead, 0-3. Abraham, where do you want to go with this?
Let me tell you something. Fiji is undefeated. You see them blocks moving back and forth. It's it's not fun. That's when you really say, okay, am I playing a game of Survivor? They were just exhausted. And really, they swam across, they jumped off. And I've never seen so many people jump in the water with their hand pinching their nose. I was like, what is that all about?
Wait, yeah, that was a big thing. Everyone on Twitter were like, everyone's going in the water, pinching their nose. And I actually had to change the graphic. My bad. It was Hunter 3-0, Siga 3-0, because he absolutely dominated this challenge. So, I mean, Nami were in last. Alex, take it away, because I've got a lot.
I absolutely loved when they were going over that roll log. Oh, and Hunter was just on Tevin's knees. It was like, hey, you got to take me over with you. And they both went, whoo! I loved
great move.
That so much. That was awesome.
So I'm not going to lie. So at times during challenges, especially with the new era, like a lot of these challenges are rinse and repeat, an obstacle course. And then at the end, you either throw something or there's a puzzle. So like, I'll kind of like, I don't want to out myself here, but at times I'll be like watching like this, and then I'll get on my phone and I'll be like tweeting or whatever. And I'm like, just kind of paying attention because I'm like, okay, it's a challenge. I'll see who wins or whatever. But the moment that happened, I was on my phone and I looked up right when I heard him say, you have to take me over. And I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? And then as soon as he did that, I dropped my phone and I said, oh my God, that was brilliant. I was like, that's the right way to do it. That was so smart. Abraham, why did you never think of doing something like that?
First of all, I didn't get that far. So I didn't get a chance to try that. I might have tried it if I got there. But let me tell you something. You're physically exhausted because you look at Q. By the time Q got to the beach, he was exhausted because you think it's easy to swim, climb up a box that's moving, and that box is moving. It's not like it's steady. Then you jumping back in the water, you swimming. I was looking at the two people that were swimming on their back. I was like, how deep is this water? They swimming, they backstroking, they finally get up there. But hey, look, competition is competition. I love it. I love the competition of the challenges, and they almost had a chance to win for once.
They did. I wanted it so bad for them. I felt so bad.
Oh, I was the opposite. I was rooting. I was like, bring on the destruction. No,
well, okay. Just because I want one person voted out doesn't mean that I didn't want to.
Look, hey, look, toss the sandbag up there. You notice only two people went and tried to toss the sandbag. So while they were trying to toss the sandbag, the other two really was rested. They could have went up there and tossed the sandbag. You can't be that uncoordinated. You can't toss a sandbag straight up on the thing. But watch out for putting yourself in the crosshairs because they're not. Hey, look, they be dicey in there.
Last time we saw that bag challenge, I saw someone remind me of this on X, and that was you guys remember your season, Abraham? JD season.
Hey man,
money.
Don't be talking about my guy. Don't be talking about my guy. Don't be talking about my guy. No. I would not participate in talking about my guy. That season 41 squad will be strong.
So Nami goes.
I'm gonna text Brad tomorrow and be like, Brad, you should have threw that sandbag up there.
Oh my gosh! So Nami goes 3-0. Yanu loses again. Siga right in the middle, and we're gonna have to take a short break here. But when we come back, there was a little more to this, and I'm not talking about the hunting like toolkit or it was actually like a shelter building toolkit that they got in a tarp. I'm talking there was another journey. We will be right back.
Welcome everyone to Expedition Online Season 6.
Hi everyone. Hey Queen's Army.
We've got King George and Queen Sandra.
I'm so shocked right now.
Everybody looks ready? In 3, 2, 1, go!
These questions are hard.
Ooh, Kara gets the first one.
Go! I feel bad throwing out names, so I will gladly go if anyone has any ideas.
Sandra is voting for Amy.
She is.
How about Eli? What if we just blindside his ass?
For you and I, keeping our names at a conversation and then having these quick check-ins.
I feel so stressed. My arms are so sweaty.
Got another twist coming in today.
Holy shit.
Now you gotta switch into game mode. Use your emotions, use who you are.
Take every opportunity.
I promise you, I do not have the compass. Where I don't have it.
Okay, you have a minute. We got about someone.
The fact that my name was even in your mouth
You say something in my web of people, it's coming back to me.
Don't ever be too comfortable in the game.
Glory or death. To the end.
But most importantly, play to win. And take out King George's faithful soldiers, boo.
They said glory or death in there. Did you play that?
I played last season. Yes, the premium online game Expedition Online is back. Alex, you've done a few online reality games yourself, and how'd you fare in them? Remind everyone.
Hold on, Alex. I was literally texting Alex, and he got voted off. I was like, "Oh man, you got to represent Alex." Next thing I know, hey, who got voted off? Wait a minute.
Wait. Which one did you watch? That second one I played?
Yeah, I was literally texting you.
That second one was stupid. All right, so I played a mini.
Alex is gone. I was like,
I played a mini in November, and I got, I think, 6th place. Like, I went pretty far with that. I tried to pull a move on Sandra. She was in my alliance. I tried to pull a move on her. She got wind of it, and I was gone. You know, queen stay queen. You don't go against queen. The second one I played, they announced that there was somebody that was playing that's played before, and I was so mad that they said that. And so their first vote, they did everybody votes for one person. So both tribes vote for one single person to get out.
Oh no!
So I had got all of us favorites to vote this kid. I think his name was Ryan. I was like, let's all vote Ryan. Let's just do it. And everybody was down for it. You know, vote a fan out. Like, they're done. One of our favorites didn't vote Ryan. And so we had 9 votes Ryan and 1 vote. I don't even know who she voted for. All the fans voted for me. I got 10 votes against me. So it was 10-9-1. I was the first boot.
I was over here texting. I was like, Alex, man, come on. You can, represent. I was texting. I was like, wait a minute. Did he get voted?
I did not see that coming at all. I was like, are you first boot? Like, no way. I was so mad.
So Alex is down bad after this, but someone who might be more down bad is I had to loop this in somehow. Man, Alex, I'll just say I've played quite a few orgs where I was one of the first people eliminated just for being like, I don't even do anything. They're like, this guy's just so nice. Let's vote him out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? But
I came in second.
We do get the journey here. Liz chooses Ben and Banu. And we didn't really see it in the episode, but I think there was some strategy here because I would almost guess that the Nami tribe, and they nominated Liz to go, and then Liz kind of was the person who chose the other two. I would almost guarantee the strategy here was to choose the people they thought were on the bottom of the tribes. That's kind of what I felt like. It would make sense if they think Ben's on the bottom, and it would make sense definitely if they think Banu is on the bottom. And they go on this journey, and it's a rock draw. And immediately I'm like, okay, I'm not a big fan of just random rock draws because it almost feels like Survivor didn't have anything else to do. So they're like, I don't know, let's just have them draw rocks. So 2 people get to compete in this challenge to gain an advantage. And then one person just, why are they there? They get to go back to camp. And so Liz gets to go back to camp because it is Ben and Banu who draws the rocks to compete. And before we get into the competition, Alex, you've been saying the entire episode that this man's crying a river. And I can't tell you how many comments I've had. I've been seeing your comments, everyone. I don't want to show them. We want to keep it positive. But I can't tell you how many comments I have about Banu and this man's emotions. My brother himself, Banu, needs to man up. This is where we really see him break down and say, I'm going home tonight. This is my dream. We have the line that he says that I'm not here for $1 million. I'm here for 1 million hearts. Or I think, yeah, I'm not here to gain $1 million. I'm here to gain 1 million hearts or whatever. Alex,
okay.
Alex, I'm going to let you. Good luck.
All right. So I love his enthusiasm. I love his heart. I love that he's so excited and happy to be there. Like, I'm not going to lie. I cried on my Naked and Afraid episode, and they showed it, So, like, I'm a crier, too. Not nearly that much, but I'm a crier, too.
I'll go back and look at it.
And the issue that I'm having with this guy right now is he hasn't lied, and he's been spilling too much tea. Like, you can't, like, with everything that he just said at that journey to the other two.
He said everything.
There's nobody from Yanu going to win. Nobody from Yanu is going to win this season. Kenzie definitely won't, because he literally told them all that she's the mastermind, which I don't really see that yet.
And Q and Tiffany are together, so everybody in the game knows that, because we immediately saw them go back after, fast forward a little bit and say it was really cool how they edited this together, how they're like bouncing back and forth, and they just tell everything that Banu put out there.
Look at
the only lie I've ever heard from Banu was when he went back to Yanu and said that he drew the white rock.
That didn't last for 30 seconds.
That's your lie?
That lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Like, I love him as a human. He's a great guy. He just can't play the game. Like, you don't go ahead.
Look at it. Look, here's the problem with this. We're going to eventually run across each other. So,
yeah.
Abraham, Abraham just saved Alex. I love my favorite thing about this is Alex is like, how do I say this and not piss Banu off?
Yeah,
like, man, I love you.
and it's like I said, he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah.
I love it. He's a great person, but he's a little too paranoid right now. Like, he needs to tone it back and try and figure out a way. Like, Kenzie wasn't wrong when she was talking to him. It's like, well, if you come to me with a plan, and if it's something I can get on board, I'm willing to listen to it and might jump ship.
Well, that's the thing. To add to your point, Alex, I agree with everything you say. I think it's tough for me to watch, and it is emotional because I'm someone you can look at this podcast, and I don't want to get into all the behind the scenes of the podcast and how it got started and all that, but I'm obviously very passionate about this, Survivor. It's like a big part of my life. I've said in some of my audition tapes that, like, people have their dreams of, starting a family and, like, this is what they want to do in their career path and stuff like that. My dream, as crazy as it sounds, is to be on Survivor. Like, I see Survivor as the holy grail. I want it. So I almost connect with him in the sense of, like, it frustrates me when I see people go out there. Like, we saw Jess last week, and in the exit interview, Jess says, I was ready to be gone. I was just done with that game. I was not having fun out there. And I get that, like, the whole surviving thing, I'm sure sucks. Like, it would be a huge challenge for me. It'd be a giant wake-up call. It always is when people go out there. But I don't like when players leave the game, especially early on, and they're okay with it. Like we saw just last week. Hey, guys, have fun. This was an incredible experience. I put myself in, like, the shoes of Banu. And Survivor is something I've applied 8 times. You think of what this man has gone through. He became a U.S. citizen, immediately applied to be on the show and said, Jeff, I can play this now. So this is obviously something, I don't know the man's age, but this is something he's been
41.
waiting. 41, thank you. He's been
waiting.
21. He's been waiting, most of his life to play this game. And I almost sympathize with him in the sense of, if I got out there, I would not want to be one of the first ones eliminated, just because I've waited so long to do this. I've been sending in tapes for years and years. I want more players like that. I want more people to go out there and be, I'm not going home first because I can't.
I would, on Amazing Race, we got eliminated second, and I bawled my eyes out then too. I cried 3 times on national TV.
I'm gonna go back and find out.
Like, I'm not trying to diss on him crying, because the thing about him crying is there's just so much emotion of how much he wants to be there, and how much, like, it's a lot of waterworks, but it's the raw emotion that I like about him.
Yes.
I hate that he's spilling everybody's tea. Like, that's not how you play the game.
He's spilling different brands of tea. He got lemon tea. He got bitter tea. I mean, he got chai tea. He's just throwing tea out there.
Jay adds in, Banu just can't lie. He's too wholesome to lie. And we literally saw it this episode when they're telling him, and that's the other thing with Banu is, and we're spending just as much time on Banu as the episode did. Someone literally posted an hour and a half of Survivor, and an hour of it is just Banu. But the other thing about Banu is, like you said, Alex, like, Kenzie went to him and said, just give me a plan. Give me something and I will listen to you. You got to, and we saw Q. Okay, first off,
Q got the best approach.
First off, Q, you cannot go to someone and say, you're my Philip Shepard and not have that be an insult. No offense to Philip, but we've seen Philip on the show. And then the other thing is,
God. I was like, Philip?
And then Q also said, I can't remember the word, but he went and he described Banu in a way of like, you're not doing anything in this game, or you're an easy person to get rid of. I want to use that as a number, something along the lines of that. So he has people coming up to him wanting to work with him. They're just like, give us something. And then we see Banu in one of these emotional scenes literally say, I can't do that. I can't lie. I'm not an actor. He brings up, what phrase are they saying? You have to know when to hold and when to fold and all of that. Show your hand. Abraham, take it from me.
Hold on. What show was he applying for? The title says outwit, outplay, outlast. Let's not go on Survivor and say, now I can't tell a lie. You looked at the previous seasons. You're going to have to tell a lie somewhere. But you don't have to tell just a blatant lie. He's not telling any lies. And he's telling everybody's information. You can't be both. You can't be a sieve with information and then don't want to tell a lie.
And they said it at the beginning of this episode. If you don't want to lie or you can't lie, just don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
Just don't talk.
Look, I can't wait to meet him in person. I think he's going to be a great guy to meet in person. But here's the thing. He has a lot of depth to him. He prayed all day. And I was like, Moses ain't knowing nothing all day. So he prayed all day.
It worked. It worked. Someone put a little needle in. Yeah.
I felt emotional for him before he even pulled the rocks. I was like, I hope he get a rock. So you got people that are looking at the show saying, I hope he gets that rock. Then you got other people saying, I hope he don't say another word. Just don't say anything. Just go back and be quiet.
If he can keep his mouth shut, he might be one of my favorite players.
Yeah, but Q,
like I said, I love the raw emotion, but he's just talking too much.
Q got the best approach for him. Q said, look, I'll use you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and get you through this right here. Because I think he's a loyal person. I think once you show him that, hey, I got your back, he's going to always vote with you. But he'll never win the game of Survivor. Never.
And I got a couple comments here from Jay, stat checking me. He got 13 confessionals in this episode, so he got a lot of talking. Yeah, and then the word he used was a liability. He told Banu, "You're a liability. I want to work with you." That's something you usually don't want to hear. Alex, I think you had another thing you wanted to add on about Banu there. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to
I was actually done with my rant on Banu.
Hey, look, Alex, if me and you in those tea. If me and Banu and Alex was on there, me and Alex voting him out. That dude got to go.
I want to move on to Q real quick.
Yeah,
I think he could win I think he can win the game, man. He
not
is
saying
smart.
the shit he said he can't. Not what he said he can't. No, he can't. He was like, vote me out.
He asked to be voted out tonight.
Oh yeah, and I was getting there. Dang, man, give me a second. If he can keep his head straight, and a loss is a loss, it's gonna happen on Survivor no matter what. So if he can keep his head straight in the way that he's playing the social game, I think he could win it. And right now, he's my favorite, even though Banu just ratted the whole tribe out.
He really ratted Mackenzie out. He didn't really rat them out. He basically pushed Mackenzie up front, said she's the mastermind. So they still have a chance to maneuver in the chance there's a swap.
That's true. That's true.
Something. But here's the thing. I'm never going to say vote me out. I'm never going to volunteer myself. So I didn't really – and then you see what Tiffany said. She looked at him like, man, stop.
Tiffany immediately. And I love that you bring up Q because we haven't spoken enough about Q. Like I said, much like the episode tonight, I'll double down on the joke. We spent most of our time here on Banu. But Q is the one person playing the game. And I respect Q from the fact of, yes, he did say during this episode, I think you should vote me out of the game. He really feels bad about losing. That comes from a D1 athlete, where losing is almost unacceptable. You keep losing these games, you really hear about it. But he is playing the game. This could have easily tonight, and I know the vote didn't happen, but this easily could have been Easy vote Banu. The three of us move on. But I love how Q, every single tribal council, he goes, do I really want to get rid of Banu? This is something that I don't understand why it doesn't happen more in the game of Survivor. There's been too many times where someone is easily on the bottom and everyone's like all on them. And you could look at Venus in the same light where everyone's like, let's just vote this person off. It's an easy vote. If I hear that, I want to work with that person because that person has nowhere else to go. So Q is right in the fact that Banu is an emotional player. There's a lot you have to manage with Banu, but he's got no other friends. He's got no one else. Why not bring him in and say, Banu, I got you. Be a number for me. Because that's a vote. That's basically an extra vote.
I'm going to help you out, Randy. What'd you have for dinner tonight?
Chicken nachos.
That's some chicken nachos. You're feeling good, ain't you? Chicken nachos. Did you get some rest today?
I did. I slept until 11:30. I got a lot of
in a bed. You slept in a bed.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
So you're nice and comfortable. You're making your assessment from a state of comfort. They haven't eaten. They just whoever you really are, you can only hide for a certain amount of time. That's who you really are. You know, they go in the game, you be like, you're proper, you're polite. Then 2 days of not eating but nothing but coconut, you like, man, hold up, they tripping.
Yeah, people change. People change from not eating. Like I had one source of protein, and it was a snail about this big in the Amazon. I was not the same person I am.
So everything
I get that
you're logically thinking through, you lose logic out there. So you got to try to get through it anywhere you can. But logically, what you're saying is absolutely correct. Practically, no. Look, we was eating so much dirt and coconut, dropped in dirt and kind of shit. And it's like you're trying to get from day one to day two, and you're competing with these challenges that are grueling. They're taking a lot out of you. I'm talking about you're physically exhausted when you come from a challenge. So when we see them and they're on camera, and I can understand where Q's coming from. He's a competitor. He wants to compete. Well, I draw the line at, I ain't never volunteer myself for nothing. No, I'm not doing that part. Where Tiffany came in and said, that doesn't even make sense because now you're messing up my game. And let's not forget, Tiffany actually has an immunity idol. So Tiffany got an ace in a hole.
Well, that's
also
what
a target.
I was going to ask Alex. I mean, you are big on Q, and Jay adds in the chat. I think Q can win, so he agrees with you. By the way, if you're in the chat, make sure to join the live chat, interact with us. And if you're watching, we got quite a bit of people watching here. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We are that close, so just a little quick plug. But Alex, back to the subject we're talking about. You say that you think Q can win, and he is your favorite. You think he's got a bigger chance to go far in this game than, say, Tiffany? Because I think Tiffany is also – I think Kenzie is blind, like just thinking this three all the way to the end. I mean, Tiffany is Q's right-hand man and vice versa. Yeah. What do you think about Tiffany's game? Because we haven't really talked about her, and I feel like the two of them are kind of locked in like that.
I think they're a dynamic duo. I think both of them can go really far, but at some point, somebody's going to turn on each other's back. It's Survivor, you know? But if you think about it, Kenzie and Tiffany were like tight. Kenzie knows about Tiffany's idol.
Yeah.
Q almost had Tiffany convinced to vote Kenzie tonight. Q is persuasive. He understands the game. He's seeing future votes and future tribal swaps, everything. Like he sees the threat that Kenzie could be. And he almost got Tiffany to vote like her number one.
Do you think Kenzie would have went home tonight if they were to go to tribal council?
I think so. I think she would have.
So Jeff showed up.
Until Jeff showed up.
And then Banu was crying again. So Tiffany, I think with the stop this. I think with Tiffany with the console, because everybody got a heart. Everybody got a heart. Don't think people go out there and they're just heartless. And she doesn't want to see him crying because I understand that he's living every adventure that me and Alex had a chance to live. We get to live an adventure that we never thought we were going to live. And you don't want that adventure to stop. And you don't know how to stop from not being voted out. And he just literally doesn't know how to stop from being voted out. And he knows that he's on the chopping block. And Tiffany feels that. And we see that her trying to comfort her. And then you get that surprised look on your face when you see Jeff walking through the woods. First of all, where you walking from? Ain't nothing back there. Stop playing. You had to come around the other way to get there, to get to the path. There's no way to get to the path from that direction. So stop.
Well, we're definitely going to get to how this episode broke down. The last thing I want to touch on before we get to how this episode ended, I did have a problem with how the journey played out. So I already talked about I didn't like the rocks, and I don't want to go on too long of a rant here. But a big thing for Survivor the past couple of seasons, especially the new era, has been playing around with votes. And I didn't like it when they first started taking votes away. I've gotten okay with it when you give them a choice. But this brings me to Survivor has shot themselves in the foot with taking away votes. I tweeted out something tonight that said, before I knew Randon was going to get medically evacuated, I tweeted something out literally saying, congratulations, Survivor. You have, just because you want to take all these votes away, you took what could have been an interesting tribal and just ruined it. And it ruined it. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. And ruined it by taking the vote away from Banu. And we'll get to, yes, he had a chance to complete that puzzle, but you took the vote away. He can't play his shot in the dark. So at that point, I was like, you might as well turn the episode off. Banu is going home. And we were talking about this before you joined, Alex, like before we went live here. I don't like the fact that they didn't have a choice, because I think it would have been much more interesting television if you had Banu walk up and it said, you have to complete this puzzle in the allotted time. If you don't do it, you lose your vote tonight. Or you can walk away right now, go back to camp, and you get nothing. I think that would have made it more interesting, because then if you're Banu, what do? You know you're on the bottom of the tribe. Do you do this puzzle and risk it to try to get that advantage? Or do you say, my vote is important. I have to have my vote tonight. I'm going to go back to camp. Because I don't want to, the season that I played Expedition Online, and I don't want to go too much into the org world, but I had a similar situation where I was clearly at like the bottom of a tribe. And it was Janet, the wonderful Janet, who came on, and she gave me an opportunity. Yes, Janet gave me Alex knows about Janet.
I love Janet.
Janet gave me an opportunity to risk my vote for an advantage. And I was on a tribe of 4 people. And I told her no. And she kept trying to talk me into it. And I said, I can't do that because there's only 4 of us. And if I lose my vote, I'm going home. So I walked away, didn't even try for the advantage. That night, it was a 2-2 split. And then thankfully, it was a tie. And thankfully, the 2 people ended up choosing the other person to go home, because I couldn't vote. He couldn't vote. And it was still a tie on the revote. So they had to choose him to go home. That's what I'm saying. Overall, that's why I'm looping this back in. If I chose not to even take the risk. If I didn't have that opportunity and I lost my vote, it would have been an easy elimination. I would have been out of the game because I don't have a vote to make that 2-2 draw. So that's why I'm okay if you want to do this whole, you got to earn your vote and stuff like that. I get it, but there's got to be, and I was really mad about this, there has to be a choice in that situation. Alex, I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
Look.
I said,
don't
Alex.
Do that to me, Abraham.
Abraham goes.
Because I'm about to crush Randy. So go ahead. I'm about to get him.
I like the no votes, but I think they're playing them a little too much. Like, eventually, we're going to get to a tribe that nobody has a vote, and they end up at tribal council. You know, that would never happen. But it definitely is a different aspect to it. Like, you could have gone, if Banu would have kept his vote, it could have changed everything, you know, and Randon didn't go out. Q and Banu go Kinsey. Q tries to convince Tiffany to vote Kinsey. She gives Kinsey her idol. Banu goes home anyways. You know, there's so many different variations that could have happened. But now that Banu doesn't have a vote, it's interesting because if Q wants to vote Kinsey, he has to work with Tiffany. So I think I like it. I agree with the wanting to having the choice to lose it or not. I like that a lot, but
it doesn't ruin the episode. Like, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like, it doesn't ruin it. Stuff can still happen. I think I was just mad at the time because I'm like, ooh, this is getting spicy. What could Banu get? And then immediately I went from like that feeling to, oh, Banu's just going to end up going home. I think that's why. So I was a little over mad. I'll say that. Abraham, what do you think about this?
First of all, the title tells you what the adventure is going to be. Outwit, outplay, outlast. So we know coming in what to expect. You're going to have to do some of those things in order to survive a Survivor. Okay, you don't like the rocks. They could have found another way to get to the puzzle, but we know there's going to be puzzles in any type of journey. And everybody wants to jump on them journeys like go. Now, Banu didn't have a choice. They picked Banu to go. He goes on a journey. He wants the opportunity to try to save himself. That's what you want. You want an opportunity to save yourself in Survivor. If nobody else is going to save you, guess what? Because we wouldn't be having this conversation if Banu had won the reward. We would have cared about them rocks.
And I wonder what the reward is, because I was thinking that too. Is it
neither one
even
of
worth
them-
it? Is it just
neither
an
one of
extra
them could do
vote?
the puzzle. And look, they lay the puzzle out when you see it, so they have to put the big blocks down. Either way. But here's the thing. Bono is still playing the game when he gets back off the journey. He could have sold it. He could have went back there and said, look, I won. He could have been elated. I won. I have 2 votes. This is the first time I ever won anything. And he could have literally just sold it. All he had to do is not cry.
No, the only thing he had to do was not lie about getting a white rock. Like,
No,
why
look.
was that your lie?
All he had to do is come back and be joyous. I got it. I finally won something on Survivor. It's so much. It's a great feeling. Now I have 2 votes. Now you're off the chopping block.
Yep.
And that's just an emotional change. It's just an emotional change.
That would have been a power move to come back. And like, even though, you got screwed, it would have been a power move to come back. And I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they would have came to him and said, okay, he got 2 votes. We know he's not going to vote himself out.
You could have said, like, obviously you don't want to say an idol, because if you say an idol, they're going to be like, well, show us, and then you've got nothing to show.
Extra vote. I got an extra vote.
Or you could go, I was going to say, you could get really creative and say, tonight at Tribal Council, I get to take one of your votes, and then just put it out there. Kenzie, I'm taking your vote tonight.
Yeah.
And then that's going to set the paranoia flying through the roof.
So that's why I'm not so caught up in the fact that he lost a vote. I'm more concerned at how he's playing the game to not sell the fact that he could have sold it a different way. And that's the thing about it is, you're in a game that you're trying to outwit, outlast, outplay people. He came back and he lied for 30 seconds on camera. And then Q came, he was like, man, no, I lost my vote. I'd have been like, I'd have told Q, I gotta steal a vote, and I'm about to steal somebody's vote. He'd have went back and told Tiffany that he got to steal a vote. He's gonna steal a vote. Okay, that means he has 2 votes. They got 2 votes. Now they got to make a choice. He didn't even play. He was like, he gave up in the game. Great person. Don't get me wrong. Great person. Great emotional person that we see on Survivor. And we want to see those raw emotions. But he playing the game like, where's Jelinski at? Jelinski? You in Ponderosa? You want to come back?
Oh my God.
Jelinski couldn't lie either.
Yeah. Tag. I had to vote. Jelinski broke the hourglass, and I got
Alex, real quick before we kind of get to the main talking point in this episode that's not Banu, I have to get your opinion on Jelinski. Just like your quick opinion when you were watching that play out.
Man, Jelinski.
He was an interesting character. He would have been fun to watch this season, but man, you're on a journey and you literally you lose your vote if you lose. And he couldn't lie either.
Well, he gave up way too many times.
And giving up on the sweat challenge. I'm sorry. I will not give up until time is out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna walk.
Yeah,
and it was that sweat challenge wasn't as brutal as the 41 sweat challenge. That was brutal. And the Blue Tribe for us had a different. They let him do a couple of things that the Yasa Tribe couldn't do, and I'm like, but he gave up. I'm gonna point a finger at you anyway because you gave up. But he just basically did a good job of getting himself voted out of Survivor first.
I agree.
Well,
when he went and laid on the hammock,
I will tell you this. I was not upset about the first boot.
No,
I was not upset.
Well, we got
he
one more.
Look, he can't even come in the first boot circle. He just not that. Hey, look, no, he can't come hang out with us. We the first boots.
You were on Survivor for 15 minutes.
Yeah, you can't
we got one more topic to talk about here, and it's a big talking point. Someone who I'm sure none of us were happy to see go because he was really playing the game, and that was Randon gets medically evacuated from the game. And this is something, the first thing I'll say is, look, on this show, I try to be positive. We still love Survivor. I know sometimes people look at me. I just had a giant rant and they're like, well, if you don't like it, stop watching. I obviously still love Survivor. but I'm not scared to say when I think something could be improved on. But where I'm getting at with this is one thing with Survivor, you can talk all the trash you want about how there's too many advantages or they shorten the game and stuff like this, but you cannot take away from the fact this is a real life thing these people are going through. They are actually out there surviving on this island with practically nothing. And you look, I mean, if you're like, well, I don't know about that, look at the evidence from the last few seasons. A lot of people have said the new era has gone soft. You know, Jeff isn't as mean as he used to be, but I've counted off the top of my head, I can think of at least 4 medevacs the last couple of years for different reasons. Obviously, you had Matthew, you had Bruce, you had Jackson, and now you have Randon. I'm trying to think if there was any others that I'm forgetting. But yeah, so you cannot deny that this is a grueling game. And this was a tough situation. Alex, when they first started talking about it early on in the episode, did you have a feeling this might linger on to a bigger issue? Because that's something that I've never heard of the game. When he wakes up and he's numb on his right side of his body and he can't even grasp anything with his hand, I almost had a feeling like, I don't know if he's going home this episode, but I almost feel like he'll go home next episode. What was your take when you first started hearing about the nerves and the spinal stuff and all that?
So being on one of probably, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, one of the harshest reality,
yeah, I agree.
One of the harshest reality shows there are out there, Naked and Afraid.
Deadliest Catches next. Go ahead.
You're hours away from medical care. Hours away. Like if something was going to happen to me out there, I would have to be helicoptered out. That was their only evacuation plan. So being on these islands, being in the middle of nowhere, like I don't know what facilities they have out there, but they literally said we can't MRI you to see if you're okay. And that's what concerns us. Because if it is something bad, you could be hurt the rest of your life. So I hate seeing a medevac, especially with somebody that was playing the game, and just medevacs in general. Like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity being on any of these shows. I don't know how I was lucky to be on 2 of them, but it hurts. You go out on not your own terms, and he may just had a pinched nerve.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, they showed him where it was literally probably just a pinched nerve. But yeah, you're right. You're right. We're so the way Fiji is set up is I think it's 150 islands. No tribe is on the same island. So it's not like one tribe is on one side of the island. No, they're on different islands. So that in itself is logistically, you're dealing with 3 different groups of people trying to make sure everybody's good to go. Now, we do have a certain level of medical people available to us, but they're basically to stabilize. They're not there to do long-term treatment. If you go back and look at Bruce got injured in the morning because that's when they filming in the light. So it had to be early in the day he got hurt. He didn't get moved out of there until later that night. So what they did was observe him to see was he showing certain, concussion protocols or whatnot. So I'm pretty sure when they came to him and they was like, okay, we don't know exactly what this is, but this is possibly what this is. And the time they probably needed to take him out of the game, too much time might have elapsed between going to the next tribal council, getting set up. Because remember, this is a show now. They got to film and do certain things on times and daylight and light and stuff. So it might not have been enough time to get him there and get him back. Where say, hey, let's check you right quick. Or we remember now, he still couldn't move his right hand. So don't make no difference if it was a bulging disc or if it was what they said, a pinched nerve. He still couldn't move a limb. So how long are you gonna be in the game not being able to move a limb? So
and I'm sorry, no game is worth an injury for the rest of your life.
No.
Who fell off the rock? Who fell off the rock?
It was Matthew.
So I talked to Matthew. He got hurt for real. I mean, really, really hurt. Surgery hurt. And you got to go get home and get that stuff repaired. And it's like we'll do it now. We'll do it. We'll do it now.
What?
No, I'm saying, but we'll get hurt to play. I don't want nobody to think that we're not gonna play and worry about getting hurt. If I got hurt, I just got hurt. That's what I said. When we did the first challenge, I said, I'm gonna give this all I got. I'm gonna have fun, but I'm throwing 100% into this challenge. And if you ever go back and look at the video, man, I'm tossing myself over that thing. I'm rolling down there. I'm in this sawdust thing. But when I touched them 2 sandbags, I felt life.
Alex, you said
everything out of socket.
Alex, were you saying you had like an injury that you went through as well?
Yeah. So I didn't. It was on my Amazon challenge, 21 days. I was like 4 days before evac or before extraction. I'm sorry. I started noticing this bump in my beard, and there's bacteria everywhere out there. Like Amazon is not clean. I don't know how people live out there. But so I didn't tell anybody that because I didn't want to be medically evac'd.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went 4 days. This thing kept growing. It ended up coming about golf ball size, and it was sitting in my beard, and nobody could see it still because of my beard. So I didn't tell anybody. I got all the way back home, immediately went and got it checked out, and we thought it was a bot fly. We thought there was larvae living in my neck. It wasn't. It ended up turning into staph. I ended up getting staph. They had to surgically go in. I still have the scar. You can't see it because of my beard. But yeah, so I ended up having surgery. They had to surgically go in, clean it out, 3 stitches inside, 4 outside. And that's how deep they had to go. And it's like right in my chin too, right where all that soft stuff is. So it's not stuff to play around with injuries. Like, you're so far away. I had staph. If that would have turned into Mercer, it would have been 10 times worse, you know? Like, people lose limbs because of that. And so with Brandon getting this injury and the potential of not knowing what it is, I hate to say it, but every time a medical evac happens, I think it's the right thing. As much as I hate it.
The only thing that I'll add to it, and this is something that, I don't want to talk too much about Survivor Australia, but it's something that they do. I don't know if Survivor US has this rule, but they film in Samoa, and this happened last season with this guy, King George. I know a lot of people, I'm sure, know King George, but
I know King George.
He got, yeah,
He's a wild guy.
We've all met King George. That's the crazy thing. He is oh my gosh, hello.
I thought that was a baby sheep.
I'm gonna let Dad go in a minute. We're wrapping up right now, okay? No, so the thing with King George is he got hurt, had to be pulled from the game, but they took him to a hospital, found out there was nothing, he wasn't having a problem, and they still did the elimination that night. It was actually his tribe going to tribal council. Some people thought it was unfair, but he missed tribal council. They still voted someone off, had the chance to vote someone off else, it was a whole situation where they didn't have to vote. They said, we don't know if George is coming back in the game or not. And the tribe went, no, we still want to vote someone off. That was a whole weird situation. But George missed his own tribal council and then came back in the game the next day and said, hey, George was checked out. He's okay to go and all of that. I'm curious to know if they can do the same thing here with U.S. Survivor, because they said, we got it. You have to give an MRI. So I'm just curious whether they could have flown him out, still did the vote, and then the next day they could see after the MRI, because he said there was nothing. It wasn't the worst case scenario, thank God. So is that something you could have done, flown him back in the next day? I don't know if
because
the U.S. doesn't have that rule.
It's production. So, okay, he gets hurt. They tell him they got to pull him from the game. They got another tribe going to vote. Would you want them to pull him from the game to check him, and then you still get voted out, and then he still medically leaves? Now you're down another person. So instead of being down one person, now you're down 2 people. Logistically, sometimes it just doesn't work, and timing, it just doesn't work like that. Australia may be set up where they may have, like, first of all, Australia is longer, so they got some days in between.
They've got 46 days, and the fact that they have to, Alex. So Survivor Australia is 24 people, 46 days, and the thing with Survivor Australia is they also have to. The network makes them do 3 non-elimination episodes a season just to prolong the season. So that's another thing that could come into effect. Where Survivor, they don't do non-elimination, so if it would throw off their schedule. And Survivor Australia, they could just be like, okay, maybe one of those, maybe we add on a non-elimination or whatever.
And the thing about it is you want to see a player, and like he said, I would rather be voted out versus medically removed from the game. But again, like Alex said, the medical part is for your safety. It's 100% for your safety. You just never know when a scratch turns into something else, because we're literally in the woods. It's not like it's like they fumigating and saying it's a sterile area. I think Tony was drinking from bacteria water when they were in China. I mean, they had a lot of stuff that could have got people that people just don't see. They never saw it.
And I've got a prime example. I just don't know if I can say it because of my contract and everything. But with my partner on show, she had a UTI. It wasn't a UTI. It was something much worse. So it was a good thing they got her out.
But you don't know because you don't have the full staff there. You just have people to kind of say, stabilize, get you out. Because remember the episode of Survivor where it was like 3 or 4 people got hit with heat stroke after the challenge?
Yep.
And the one guy almost died?
Yep. Survivor Cal Wrong. Yep.
They brought the helicopter in and said, hey, and it's Fiji is hot. You're literally in the jungle, and the jungle gives off some heat that's like no other. So you're standing in heat, walking in heat, you're in heat. They want you to stay hydrated, but it's not like it's fluoride water. So you're trying to force yourself to drink this water and you're not eating. You're susceptible to a lot of stuff. So I think they made it was the right move medically. I'm with Alex on that one. Anytime there's a chance that you could get further injured, we got to get you up out of there.
Well, unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to Randon tonight, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here if they rehide his Beware advantage, how they handle that, especially with the fact that he could have moved the box, whatever. And then will we see Randon back? I'm not going to throw out the fact we could. They were very quick to bring Bruce back. We'll have to wait and see if they do the same
Bruce
thing.
only played 15 minutes.
Yeah, fair. Brandon got at least 5 or 6 days.
Bruce is in that mud. Bruce knocked himself out. Bruce is gone. We'll see him next season.
But the coverage does not stop here. Before we say goodbye to our guest, Alex, and wrap up here, you can check out all of our coverage all week long of episode 3, Survivor 46. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m., you can check out Survivor Social. Tegwith will be joined by Helen from season 44 of Survivor, so she will be on the show. And then Friday, we have Survivor Stock Watch at 2 p.m. Will and Jack will break down the power rankings, what players are moving up, which players had a down week. And then on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, you can check out Got Something For You. Phil, Matthew, and Ollie will be covering that. We are also covering Survivor Australia, Titans versus Rebels. The finale is next week. Go check out all of our exit interviews. They are on the channel. We will be interviewing the final 5 castaways and hopefully the winner as well. And then we have a recap show planned for you guys next week. And then also next week, Alex is like, my dog... The dog's like, hurry up. This man won't stop talking. And also next week, we have an incredible lineup of guests for you guys. I can't make the announcement yet, so make sure to follow us on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast. It's Alex is coming back.
It's me again.
We have 4 shows, 4 different guests, 2 from the new era, 2 from the old era. So next week is officially new school versus old school week on Survivor Now. So we're very excited. There's some exciting things coming up. Make sure if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel. I don't know where we're at now, but when we first started, we were 10 subscribers away. So we really would appreciate a subscription from you guys. And Alex, thank you so much for joining us, man. Any last minute tips to any of the fans out there for if they decide to go on Naked and Afraid or The Amazing Race?
Don't do Naked and Afraid. No, I'm totally kidding. If you want the challenge, if you want to have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, you really want to have personal growth. Like I tell you what, Naked and Afraid made me a better person. It sucks like crazy. But if you want to try a reality show, apply for it, go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to stick where you're at. You're not losing anything applying. Do it.
You're right.
Jeff's got commercials every other thing. Apply for Survivor. He's almost convinced me.
Look, hey, it'd be funny we all went in the house with Big Brother.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I won't do Big Brother.
Come on.
And Alex, where can the fans catch you on social medias?
Yeah, so you can find me. I've only got a personal page on Facebook, but my Instagram's open to everybody. It's Alex T Manard. So first name, middle initial, last name, pretty easy. Go ahead, follow me on there. It's great. I post a lot of pictures about my dog. And yeah,
What's your dog's name?
it's Hank.
Hank? That's our guest
Yeah.
for next week. I'll go ahead and make the announcement.
Hank.
It's just Hank's going to come on the show, and it's going to be Alex coming out and being like, Hank, how much time left do you have? That is amazing.
Oh, yeah. My dog knows how to play football. Well, he can't catch worth a shit, but he'll run around.
Well, I got some snow.
He's a running back. Abraham, anything else to say before we turn off here?
No, just having a blast, man. Just enjoying season 46. This is like, again, the players make the seasons, and they're making a hell of a season. They're making it their season. You know, I'm waiting for it to get a little more spicier, but it's building a good storyline. Enjoying the different little twists and turns. I'm loving that box, and like I said when I posted on Instagram, I'm looking for that dragon and that mermaid. So,
you're putting Hank to sleep, Abraham. Hank, anything else to say?
Hank ain't got a job.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have to come back to see what Hank has to say next time. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next week.